I was grabbing us ice cream from the truck when I heard my little brother scream. By the time I got back, his lap was soaked, and a woman was standing over him holding an empty mug. "Hey, you want the usual?" I asked, halfway out the door. Little brother grinned from his wheelchair. "2 scoops, chocolate and cookies and cream. You better not forget the cone this time." I laughed. "All right, boss. Hold tight right here by the curb. I'll be 2 minutes." The neighborhood ice cream truck was parked just a few houses down. I waved at the driver. "Yo, man, you still got cookies and cream?" "Last scoop, buddy. Lucky you." I handed over the cash and turned around with the cones in hand. That's when I heard it. A scream. High-pitched, raw. It was my brother. I dropped the cones, ran. "What the hell?" He was hunched over in his wheelchair, clutching his stomach. His t-shirt was soaked, steam rising off his lap. And next to him, some middle-aged woman I'd never seen before holding a damn ceramic mug. "What did you just do to him?" She didn't even flinch. Just looked down her nose at me and said, "Maybe next time don't block the sidewalk with your little obstacle course." My heart was pounding. "Did you just pour something on him?" She shrugged. "It was just water. Hot water. Maybe next time don't leave a cripple sitting in the sun." My hands clenched. I took a step forward. "You psycho. He's a kid. He's 10. "I don't care if he's 50, she snapped. "You people think your problems are everyone else's," he whimpered. "It burns." That shut me down. I knelt beside him. His legs were red, his shorts were soaked. I checked his arms. No blisters, thank God. But the water had clearly just been poured minutes ago. "Where do you live?" I demanded, turning back to her. "None of your business." I stood up, blocking her path. "You don't get to walk away from this. This is assault," she laughed. "You want to call the police? Be my guest. Tell them your wheelchair buddy was blocking my driveway and I spilled some tea." "He wasn't anywhere near your driveway," I shouted. "Oh, so now you're calling me a liar?" She took a step toward me, mug still in her hand. I took it from her. I didn't even ask. Still warm. I held it up. "You poured this on a disabled child. That's not an accident. That's not a spill." "Then prove it," she said smugly. Brother's hands trembled. "I just said hi to her, and she got mad. I'm calling 911. Her face changed. "Don't you dare." I already had my phone out. "You think I won't?" She backed up a step. "You'll regret this." "No," I said. "You will." She turned on her heel and stormed off. Not even a glance back. I knelt next to my brother again. "I'm so sorry, man. I shouldn't have left you." "It's okay," he mumbled. "I just wanted ice cream." "I know, buddy. I know." That's when Mr. Halston from across the street walked over. "I saw everything. That woman's nuts." "You saw her do it?" He nodded. "Yep. I was mowing the lawn. She walked right up to him, said something nasty, and just dumped it, like it was no big deal." I stared at him. "Will you talk to the police?" "Absolutely." He looked down at my brother. "You all right, kid?" My brother nodded slowly. "Yeah. I've got a cold pack inside if he needs it. And I'll grab a towel." I thanked him and stayed right there beside my brother until he came back with everything. "Who was she?" I asked. "New lady. Rents the tan house near the corner. Shows up 2 weeks ago and acts like she owns the place. She messed with the wrong family." "You're damn right she did. You okay to move, bud?" My brother nodded. "I think so." I gently lifted his legs, checking again for any signs of burns. His skin was red, but nothing was peeling or blistered. Still, I wasn't taking any chances. "Let's get you inside," I said. Mr. Halston helped me wheel him up the ramp. "I'll stick around if you're calling someone." "Already did," I muttered, showing him my phone. "Police are on the way." Inside, I helped my brother out of the soaked clothes. He winced as I dabbed his legs with a towel. "She called me a thing," he said suddenly. I stopped. "What?" "When you were getting the ice cream. She came over and said, 'What's that doing on the sidewalk?' Like I wasn't even a person." I stood there, towel in hand, trying to stay calm. "You didn't say anything back?" "I just told her you were getting ice cream, and she got this mean look, like scary mean. And then she said I was in the way of real people, and then she went back inside." I thought that was it. I sat down next to him. So, she went back in her house, then came back out with hot water? He nodded slowly. She had a mug. I thought maybe she was going to talk to me again, or I don't know. Then she just poured it. Didn't even say anything this time. I squeezed my eyes shut. You didn't scream right away. It hurt, but I was shocked. I thought she tripped or something. But then I saw her smile. I gritted my teeth. She smiled? Yeah, like she liked it. Just then there was a knock at the door. I looked out the window. 2 officers. I opened the door. Hey, thank you for coming. Got a call about an assault? One said, already taking notes. I stepped aside. It was my little brother. He's 10. He's in a wheelchair. A neighbor poured hot water on him. The second officer glanced over at him on the couch. Is he okay? No burns, I think, but his legs are red. He's still in pain. They walked in and began asking him questions. He was nervous at first, but I sat next to him and kept my hand on his shoulder. He answered everything. You know the woman? One of them asked. She's new, I said. Tan house on the corner, moved in a couple weeks ago. Mr. Halston stepped forward. I saw her do it. No hesitation, no accident. Just walked up, dumped the mug, and walked. Off. They took his statement too. The whole time I was watching their faces. They were trying to stay neutral, but I could tell. They were pissed. She's still home? One of the officers asked. Far as I know, I said. They thanked us and headed down the street. I watched them from the window. They knocked on her door. She opened it. And the moment she saw them, her whole posture changed. She was fake crying. I could tell from here, hands up, shaking her head like she was the victim. My phone buzzed. It was the HOA app notification. Reminder, do not leave objects on sidewalks. Violators will be fined. I blinked. Objects. I opened the comments under the notice. Sure enough, people were already talking. This about that wheelchair kid? If you're blocking a path, you're asking for it. We need rules enforced. I stared at the screen. Is this a joke? I muttered. My brother leaned over. What's wrong? They're talking about you like you're a traffic cone. He looked down. I didn't even move. I stood up. That's it. I'm going to the HOA office. You want me to come? Halston asked. Nah. Watch him for me? I won't be long. You got it. I grabbed my keys, slammed the door, and peeled out of the driveway. The HOA office was just 5 minutes away. When I walked in, the receptionist looked up. Can I help? You guys think a wheelchair is an object now? I snapped, phone still in hand. Excuse me? This notice, I said, waving my phone. It's about my brother. A woman assaulted him, with hot water. He was on the sidewalk for 5 minutes while I got him ice cream. And now he's the problem? She blinked. I didn't post that. That must have come from the board. Then I want to talk to whoever did. They're in a meeting. Then interrupt it. I'm not allowed. I'll wait. I sat down, pulled out my phone, opened the neighborhood Facebook group, posted a picture of my brother's soaked wheelchair and a caption. Today, a woman dumped hot water on my 10-year-old brother while he sat outside waiting for ice cream. Her reason? She said he was in the way. Now the HOA is calling him an object. Let that sink in. It started blowing up in seconds. Comments, shares, outrage. 5 minutes later, a man in a suit opened the door. You're the brother? Yeah, I'm Greg, board president. Then explain this garbage post you made. He gave me a tired look. We didn't know the context. We saw a report about someone blocking the walkway and… Blocking? He was sitting on the edge of our driveway. There was 10 feet of space. He held up a hand. We'll remove the post. No, you'll apologize, publicly, to him. And you'll deal with that lunatic who poured water on a child. He looked annoyed. Let the police handle that. They're trying, but this HOA is acting like he's the problem. Greg sighed. We'll issue a correction. Is that all? You'll do more than that if you want any peace around here. I left before he could answer. By the time I got home, my post had over 100 comments. People I didn't even know were chiming in. What? She should be arrested. That poor boy. Give me her address. I just want to talk. This is beyond HOA stuff. This is child abuse. I walked through the door and found my brother scrolling the comments. You're blowing up, man, he said with a weak smile. You shouldn't be reading that. Some of it's nice. I sat beside him. Still. You okay? He nodded, but his voice was quiet. Kinda hurts still. But I'm good. Halston handed me an ice pack. While you were out, one of her friends came by. What? Some other older lady. Knocked on the door. Said we were making a scene, and that we should be careful who we accuse. Oh, so now we're the problem again? I stood up. I'm done playing nice. My phone rang. Unknown number. I picked up. You need to stop slandering me, said a familiar voice. I stepped into the kitchen. Karen, my name is Cynthia, she snapped. And if you keep making up lies, I'll get a lawyer. You poured hot water on a 10-year-old, I said. There are witnesses. Witnesses who weren't close enough to see what really happened. You smiled when he screamed. You're harassing me. That post of yours? Libel. Defamation. I hit record. So you're admitting it's about you? Silence. Then, take it down, or I'll sue you for everything you have. Lady, you don't even know who you're messing with. She hung up. I walked back into the room. She's threatening a lawsuit now. Halston raised his eyebrows. And you recorded that? Oh yeah. She just keeps making it worse for herself. My brother spoke up again. Why would someone do that to me? I didn't answer right away. I crouched down in front of him. Because some people hate what they don't understand. Or they think kindness is optional. He nodded slowly. She said I don't belong outside. I stood up, fists clenched. She's gonna regret ever saying that. Another buzz, this time from the HOA app again. Update. Earlier post regarding sidewalk obstruction has been removed pending further review. Our board does not condone acts of violence. Comments were already rolling in. So you do admit you messed up. Too little, too late. Apologize to the kid. Publicly. Then I saw her name pop up. Cynthia K. She was commenting too. This is all out of context. I was defending myself from an aggressive child rolling into my space. I practically screamed. She's calling him aggressive now? I showed my brother the post. His eyes filled with tears. She's lying. I know she is, I said. But now she's doing it publicly. I took a screenshot and posted again. Update. She's now claiming my brother, who literally can't walk, was being aggressive. How do you roll into someone's space from 10 feet away and get burned with a mug? Make it make sense. The thread exploded. People were tagging local news pages. Someone said, we need to get Channel 4 on this. Another said, she just moved in. Let's make her wish she hadn't. My inbox was full of DMs from neighbors. Some were sending screenshots, others offering to bring meals for my brother. One guy even offered to set up a legal fund. That's when I got another call. This time, it was my friend Tyler. Dude, you free tonight? What's up? Community meeting. HOA. People are mad. Like pitchfork mad. Are they actually doing anything about her? Not yet, but you better. Show up. You need to speak. I looked over at my brother. He looked nervous. You good if I go to this? He nodded. I want people to know what she did. I got there 15 minutes early. The parking lot was full. Inside, people were packed into folding chairs and standing in the back. The room buzzed with conversation until someone tapped a mic. Greg, the board president, cleared his throat. We'll be discussing several agenda items, including recent community disputes. Someone shouted, say her name. Another person added, we're not here to talk about recycling bins, Greg. Greg held up his hands. We are aware of an incident involving a new resident and a young member of our community. The matter is under police investigation. I stood up. My brother is that young member. Everyone turned. Some clapped. Some shouted, let him speak. Greg nodded reluctantly. You have 2 minutes. I stepped forward. My 10-year-old brother was sitting outside our house, waiting for me to get him ice cream. A woman, we now know as Cynthia K., walked out with a mug and poured hot water on his lap. She called him a thing, said he was in the way. Gasps. She then smiled while he screamed, and now she's online calling him aggressive. Someone in the back yelled, sick. Another person shouted, she poured boiling water on a child. What more do you need? Greg cleared his throat. We understand the community's frustration. No, you don't, I interrupted. You issued a warning about objects on sidewalks instead of checking the facts. My brother isn't an object. He's a human being. Applause erupted. Someone shouted, "Ban her from the HOA!" Another person added, "Evict her!" Greg looked overwhelmed. "We cannot evict homeowners or tenants without legal grounds." A woman in the front row stood up. "Then file a restraining order, as a community. Or we all start canceling our HOA dues until something gets done." The room got louder. Greg looked at me again. "Do you have a formal police report?" "Yes. And a witness." "I suggest we all wait until charges are filed by, then she could hurt someone else," I said. "She's already lying. She's already posting. She's escalating." Someone in the back said, "We don't feel safe with her around our kids." That was it. Greg finally caved. "We'll issue a formal censure against the resident, and we'll cooperate with law enforcement fully." People clapped again, but I knew it wasn't over, not even close. The next morning, I saw her. She was standing by her mailbox, acting like nothing happened. No guilt, no shame. Just watering her stupid rose bushes like she was the queen of the HOA. I couldn't believe it. I walked across the street. She saw me, coming, and rolled her eyes. "Thought you'd be busy crying on social media." "I've got time for you," I said. She turned to go back inside, but I stepped in front of her walkway. "Oh no, you're gonna stand here and listen. You're trespassing. I'm not even on your stupid lawn." She folded her arms. "What do you want?" "You burned my little brother. He has blisters, Cynthia." "And you smiled." She shrugged. "I told you. He rolled into my space, and the water wasn't that hot." "You want me to show you the medical report?" She scoffed. "Oh, please. Everyone's so dramatic these days. It was an accident." "No. Accidents don't involve grinning while a kid screams." "I've already contacted my lawyer," she snapped. "I'm going to sue you for harassment." "I recorded our last call," I said. "You threatened me. That's extortion." She blinked, but only for a second. "I never said anything of the sort." "Oh, you'll hear yourself soon enough. And so will everyone else," she sneered. "You and your brother are just playing the victim. You think people are on your side? Wait until they see the truth." "I've got cameras, Cynthia." Her smile faltered. "I've got footage from a neighbor's ring cam. You walked right up to him, lifted the mug, poured it. Silence." She glanced at her front door like she wanted to bolt. I stepped aside. "Run all you want, but you're not escaping this." I turned and walked back, heart pounding. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from fury. When I got home, I went straight to my laptop. I uploaded the footage. It was grainy, but clear enough. She walked right up to my brother, leaned in, and dumped the water. He flinched so hard he nearly rolled backward into the curb. No sound. But the image was more than enough. I posted it with this caption: "Here's the woman who claims my brother invaded her space. Here's her response. You decide who's the threat." Within 10 minutes, the video had 20,000 views. It was reposted on 3 local Facebook groups. Someone sent it to a disability rights page. Another person said, "This is going viral." I didn't care about the clout. I wanted justice. That night I heard a knock, not the cops. A woman I didn't recognize stood there holding a tray of cookies. "Sorry to bother you," she said. "I live 2 streets over. My daughter saw the video." "Yeah?" "She's in a chair, too. Same condition. She cried when she saw your brother. Said it felt like her life was finally being defended." I swallowed hard. "Thanks for coming. I just wanted to say, don't stop. People like her have gotten away with things for too long." I nodded. "By the way," she added, "the neighborhood's planning something for you. Not saying what, but you'll see." She winked and walked off. I didn't even get to ask her name. The next morning, I woke up to a message from Tyler. "Bro, come outside. Now." I ran to the front window. Dozens of houses had balloons tied to their mailboxes, purple and gold, colors for spinal muscular atrophy. I stepped onto the porch. One of the neighbors walked up with a sign. "Can your brother come out?" I wheeled him to the front. He looked around, eyes wide. There were posters with his name, banners that said, "You belong here," and "We stand with you, Mason." A little girl came up with a teddy bear and gave it to him. "I'm sorry that mean lady hurt you," she said. He held it close and smiled. Really smiled for the first time in days. Then I saw Cynthia, standing on her porch, arms crossed, face red, watching as the entire street supported the boy she tried to shame. Someone pointed at her. She's watching. Another guy raised a sign that said, "She doesn't speak for us." Cynthia turned and slammed her door shut, but we weren't done. That afternoon the police showed up. They knocked on our door first. "Hey," one officer said. "Just wanted to let you know. We're pressing charges." Wait, really? She's being charged with battery against a minor and making false claims in an official HOA complaint. Halston came up behind me. "What about the video?" "Perfect evidence," the officer said. "You did good documenting it all." My brother peeked from the hallway. The officer gave him a gentle smile. "She won't bother you again, kiddo. We promise." And just like that, the weight started lifting. I looked down the street. People were still standing outside, still holding signs, still looking toward our house with support. And inside, Mason finally looked like he believed he belonged. 3 days after the charges were filed, Cynthia tried to go for a walk. Keyword: tried. I was watering our front yard with Mason sitting next to me when I spotted her. She stepped out with those same giant sunglasses and that fake little visor she always wore. She kept her head down and held a leash, even though there was no dog at the end of it. Just for show, probably. Halston stepped outside too, holding a bag of groceries. "Guess who's back in public?" I muttered. "She's braver than I thought." Except, no one was looking at her. Actually, scratch that. Everyone noticed. Her. They just chose not to acknowledge her. Our neighbor, Mrs. Ellison, who usually greeted every soul with a wave, turned her back the moment Cynthia passed. Another guy out jogging swerved to the opposite sidewalk like she was contagious. "She's getting ghosted in real life," Halston said under his breath. "She earned it." Cynthia stopped halfway down the block, looked around like she could feel the eyes, even if they weren't staring directly at her. Her mouth tightened. Then she yanked her invisible dog's leash and stomped back home. Mason giggled quietly. "She got scared," I smiled. "Let's just say karma's working overtime." Later that afternoon, Greg, the HOA president, sent an email, the kind that starts with "To our valued residents" and ends with a mess. Due to recent events and in consultation with legal advisors, the HOA board is reviewing conduct guidelines and proposing a vote to formally expel any member who poses a threat to the safety of others. "Expel?" Halston asked. "Can they actually do that?" "Apparently they're trying to," I said. "Guess they realized lawsuits can work both ways." But it didn't stop there. I got a call from the local news station. "We saw the video. We'd like to do a story. Just a short segment on community response and your brother's resilience." I looked at Mason. "You want to be on TV?" He tilted his head. "Do I have to talk?" "You don't have to say anything if you don't want to. They just want to show the world how strong you are." He smiled again, the kind that said, "Bring it on." The crew showed up the next morning. Camera, lights, the whole deal. They interviewed a few neighbors. One of them said, "I've lived here 12 years. I've never seen people come together like this until what happened to that sweet boy." Another guy added, "I don't care about HOA rules when it comes to human decency. That woman crossed every line." The news segment aired that night. It opened with footage of Mason getting the teddy bear from the little girl, then cut to Cynthia's ring cam moment. Then to me, explaining how it felt to see my brother cry not from pain, but from being treated like he didn't belong. The story ended with footage of the balloon tribute lining every mailbox. And then the anchor said the words that gave me goosebumps. A community in unity. A family in healing. And a clear message. Cruelty has no place here. The next morning, I went out to check the mail and found a card taped to our door. It wasn't signed. No return address. Inside was a handwritten note. "I was wrong. He didn't deserve that. No one does." Cynthia? Maybe. Or maybe someone else who used to think like her. Didn't matter. What mattered was the change. What mattered was Mason. He rolled up beside me. "Can we go back to the park today?" I looked at Halston. "Think it's safe?" Halston smirked. "Safe and symbolic." We wheeled Mason down the sidewalk, same exact route as before. But this time, the energy was different. People waved. One guy even clapped. A couple stopped their car to let us cross the street, even though they had the right of way. When we got to the park, Mason rolled over to the bench where it all started. He looked around, then pointed. She was standing. There. With the mug, I nodded. Yeah. He wheeled up to the exact spot and just sat there, waiting, testing the space. I sat beside him, heart beating a little too fast. After a minute, he said, "It's not scary anymore." I looked at him. "You're not scared?" He shook his head. "Because now I know I'm not alone." That moment stuck with me. Not the cops, not the HOA board, not the news cameras, just my little brother, sitting in the exact place someone tried to break him, and smiling instead. That was the victory. As for Cynthia, she stayed inside. Every time I passed her house, the blinds were drawn. Her rose bushes started to wither. She even got a citation for overgrown weeds, a poetic end for a woman obsessed with neighborhood perfection. The board voted to formally censure her, and the neighborhood began proceedings to have her removed as a community voting member, essentially cutting her out of any future HOA power. No one talked to her. No one invited her. She was just there. Existing in a house that used to feel like a pedestal, now turned into a prison of silence. People called it social quarantine. Fitting. I never got an apology from her. Didn't need it. My brother got something better: respect, belonging, and most of all, freedom. A few weeks later, Mason rolled up to me and said, "Can we get ice cream?" I laughed. "Let's go. This time you're picking the flavor."